Welcome to our special, and this special conversation we have with our special guest from Malaysia, Malaysian Buddhist Society, which is a well-known name as Nalanda Buddhist Society of Malaysia. Nalanda Buddhist Society of Malaysia's founder, Dr. Tan Ho Sun. Which is with us for this special conversation. Dr. Tan, you are most welcome to this conversation and this program, and welcome to India.
Thank you. Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim, Jai Bhim. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Just in this beginning of this conversation, I have to ask you, what is your feelings and practicing of your personal practicing of Buddhism and your personal acceptation of Buddhism and your personal experience of Buddhism?
Yes. Thank you firstly for inviting me to the TV for this special conversation. And,
thank you. You're most welcome here.
My experience of India is one of like coming home. As a Buddhist, of course, from young, we had always wanted to come to worship at the foot of the tree of enlightenment in the Mahabodhi in Bodh Gaya.
Yeah.
We have always wanted to visit all the pilgrimage sites.
This is your first visit to India?
I have been many times to India, more than 14 times to Bodh Gaya and Varanasi and the pilgrimage sites. But my first visit to Maharashtra and first visit to the wonderful city of Nagpur.
But before visit of this city, you are going to Nagpur?
I haven't been to Nagpur before this, so this was my first visit to Dikshabhumi for this Mahakaruna Divas, which was held on the 11th of February.
Dr. Tan, you are moving all over the world for your speeches and your motivating. So what is your personal experience about that peoples who are practicing in Buddhism and who are following in Buddhism and who are not following Buddhism?
Yeah. I feel that for Buddhists, when I travel and see the world, fall into several categories. For example, people in traditional Buddhist countries.
Are you classifying?
Yes, we can identify, for example, various traits. For example, people in traditional Buddhist countries, they are born into Buddhist family, Buddhist tradition, Buddhist culture. So sometimes it is very easy to take Buddhism for granted. Actually, no one can be born a Buddhist. You can be born in a Buddhistic family. You can be born in a Buddhistic society. But it is the duty or the conviction of the individual to take up Buddhism. When we take refuge, Buddhang Sharanang Gacchami, Dhammang Sharanang Gacchami, Sanghang Sharanang Gacchami, with understanding and conviction, knowing what we are believing, knowing what we should be practicing, then one becomes a Buddhist. And that happened in Dikshabhumi, led by none other than our great leader, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in 1956. So, in my own experience, I was not born into a Buddhist family. I was the first Buddhist in my family. And I became a Buddhist when I was very young. As a teenager, I became a Buddhist and slowly learned the doctrines of Buddhism, the teachings of the Buddha, and also what are the practices, what is the dana, shila, bhavana. Slowly I became very convinced and I became very active. But I look around in a Malaysia society, many people who call themselves Buddhists don't see that, don't understand that. So I started sharing whatever that I have learned and whatever that I've realized with them. And that started my whole career, and I started to be
But right now your family is practicing in Buddhism?
Oh yes, after many years of sharing with them, after many years of leading a Buddhist life, I think they can see the value of...
How do you commence this change in your family?
I think it is very important whatever change we want, especially in family, especially among loved ones.
To observation yourself?
We have to change ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to start with ourselves.
But what would be the way of change of ourselves or myself?
When we learn about Buddhist doctrines, that is called education. When we put them into practice, that is called cultivation. Education plus cultivation leads to transformation. First, we ourselves can see our transformation. We feel more joyful, we feel more natural, we feel more wholesome. Then people who are close to us, wives and children, parents, very close friends, colleagues, they can see the transformation in us. Soon, the whole neighborhood or society can see the transformation in us. So people can be convinced not by our words, but they are moved and inspired by our example.
But in the very beginning, when you start this Nalanda Buddhist Society in Malaysia, what was you thinking?
I was thinking that in Malaysian society, there are many Buddhist temples and associations where people gather to
Were
do
the Buddhist?
Buddhist
Were the
associations.
traditionals?
They do things only traditionally, sometimes only ritualistically, but very little education. So this Nalanda was started in 2003 with the objective, with the goal of making Buddhism educational, making it inspirational by preaching the essential Dharma. Essential Dharma means no mixture of unnecessary things that are unnecessary for liberation. All the myths and all the legends we have mixed in. We have a salad. We have a salad. Buddhism, we call it the bowl is Buddhism, but it is a salad. Some are not necessary, some are essential. We have mixed together.
You tried to purify them.
We try to give people what is necessary. What is the essence of the doctrine? What is the essential practice? We try to share with people, and that is how we organize this Nalanda society, get a group of like-minded people, and they're very young people, and to do this social educational work.
That time, what was your reason to establish this society?
The reason is when I see in the 1980s and 1990s, I can see that there are mushrooming of Buddhist groups, but there is no corresponding understanding of Buddhist teachings. So this is a trend that is unsatisfactory. So the Nalanda is formed to emphasize the importance of Buddhist education, proper Buddhist education that lead to personal transformation.
So did you develop dialogue in all those communities?
We have started outreach since the very beginning. We invited other societies to come together to jointly organize.
But how what was the beginning point, starting point?
The starting point was well, not too easy, but when we have conferences, dialogue seminars, joint Dharma programs, there were warm reception to all those activities and programs. And people start to see the importance of education. Slowly, more and more societies are emphasizing on Buddhist education. I feel very proud in seeing the progress.
So many preachers are preaching on Buddhism, but they are not expressing the way of practicing in Buddhism. So what would you like to express with our viewers? What is the practical Buddhism and how to practice with Buddhism?
To practice Buddhism, we need saddha. Saddha, conviction or faith, is something that is very hard to explain, but something we can feel and something we can know.
Is it philosophy or is it only emotion?
No, it is neither philosophy nor emotion. It is conviction.
Yeah.
It is conviction, meaning that I feel that these principles are helping me in my life. I feel that these principles are noble and wholesome. I have full faith in these principles, and therefore I have this saddha. This is the beginning point of practice. Further than that is sincerity, the honesty. You know, when we are sincere in practicing and honest with ourselves, when we see our defilements in our action, we should abandon them. The Buddha said, when we see unwholesome speech, we should abandon them. When we have unwholesome thinking, it becomes an unwholesome habit. We should abandon, we should stop them, we should eradicate them. We have to be very honest. We have to be very mindful. And that is the training of the mind. So practical Buddhism is training of the mind.
Wow.
Training of the mind through our action. Training of our mind through our speech. And training of our mind through our thoughts. When we train our mind, the mind is very strong. With all the abilities of that mind, it purifies itself. Because Buddha said, Sudhi asudhi pachatang nanyo anyang visodai. Purity and impurity depends on oneself. No one can purify another. So for example, when we are hungry and we are so busy at work, we ask our good friend, please go and have some lunch because I'm hungry. That friend went to have lunch, but we don't feel full because whoever eats feels full.
So helping hands
See.
is more important.
Very important.
Yes.
That is why the Bhagavan, the Buddha, mentioned to Venerable Ananda, he said, Ananda, this spiritual friendship is not half of the holy life, it is the entirety of the holy life. Kalyana mitata, we call it in Pali. So at Nalanda, we emphasize, one must be a good practitioner of Buddhism, not a good scholar,
Yeah.
not a good speaker, not a very
Good.
popular figure,
Yeah.
not well-known figure, but one must be a genuine, sincere, honest, down-to-earth practitioner of Dharma. Secondly, one must be a good friend to other practitioners, to all sentient beings.
And
So only two things.
And that is Kalyan Mitta.
That is Kalyana Mittata. Kalyana Mitta means a person who is a good spiritual friend. And the person who is a good spiritual friend is good himself or herself. So one has to be good by being a good practitioner. After that, one becomes a good friend. So for the Buddhist community to grow, if we have more good practitioners, and those good practitioners become good friends to others, that community will definitely grow successfully.
But if you want to summarize the philosophy of Buddha or the teaching of Buddha, what would your words?
I say the best summary is the Buddha's own words. Sabba papasa akaranang kusalasa upasampada sajita paryodapanang etang buddhana sasana. To avoid all
There is
kinds
no
of
other things.
unwholesome.
There are no other things. What is the proper way of purification of mind?
Purification of mind involves sila, samadhi, and panya. Sila means morality and virtue. The mind has to be virtuous. The mind cannot tolerate impurities and do nothing about them. When we see our defilements, we must make a conviction saying that these things are harmful, these things are unwholesome, these things defile me, make me impure. So I should abandon them because it's like drinking muddy water, washing with muddy water. We cannot make ourselves more dirty. We have to put them aside. This is called sila. Samadhi means the mind is calm and peaceful. If the mind is not calm and peaceful, for example, very greedy or angry, we create a lot of unwholesome qualities. The mind must be trained to be calm, simple, contented, and peaceful.
Yeah.
Then wisdom will arise. That is insight. So through samadhi, through meditation, samatha vipassana, we can have insight, and that is the beginning of wisdom. So the practical way is the Buddhist way. What the Buddha taught is already the most practical way.
Yeah.
It is Sila, Samadhi, Panya.
But there is many other ways to practicing in Buddhism. But so many people we are seeing that they are only preacher of Buddhism. So what would you like to say to that people who are only preaching but not practicing?
Well, I think many people are bound by culture. They are born in that tradition, they are born in that culture, they are born in that kind of behavior, that is what their community do, giving blessings and so on. I feel in Buddhism we have all these kind of a variety, there's a lot of variety, and sometimes because of so many varieties it causes confusion for the normal Buddhists. For the common Buddhists, the single Buddhists, we find that which of these teachings is true? Actually, all of them may contain a little bit of Dhamma or a lot of Dhamma here and there. But what is important is to teach the Dharma according to what the Buddha taught. And the Buddha said like this, I only teach the Dhamma for this purpose, that is to know suffering and to free oneself from suffering. If other things are added in, they become cloudy. And the whole message becomes clouded, covered, unclear. So it is very important for preachers to first practice and understand for themselves what is the freedom from suffering, and then teach people only freedom from suffering.
But some are concentrating on the only way of materialism or surrealism or rationalism. Is it the sect of Buddhism?
I don't think Buddhism is about any ism. The Buddha didn't
So
teach
what would you
Buddhism.
like to say about Buddhism?
The Buddha didn't teach Buddhism.
Yeah.
The Buddha realized Dharma under the Mahabodhi, under the tree of enlightenment. What he realized was Dharma. What he preached was Dharma, pure Dharma. In essence, only the purest nectar of Dharma, the nectar of deathlessness. This is what the Buddha preached. Later generations of preachers added this and that, and slowly Dharma became today Buddhism.
But if you want to summarize the philosophy of Buddha or the teaching of Buddha, what would your words?
I say the best summary is the Buddha's own words. Sabba papasa akaranang kusala upasampada sajita paryodapanang etang buddhana sasana. To avoid all
There is
kinds
no
of
other things.
unwholesome.
There are no other things.
There are many ways to summarize Buddhism. We can say sila, samadhi, panya.
Yeah.
We can say suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path to the cessation of suffering. But in Buddha's own words, it is the way to suffering is to first avoid unwholesome conduct, avoid unwholesome qualities. Secondly, to cultivate all the good qualities, the noble qualities in oneself. And thirdly, to purify one's own mind. And this is the teaching of not just Shakyamuni Buddha, but all Buddhas from the past, all Buddhas at present, and all Buddhas in future too. This, I think, is the best summary of what Buddhism and Dharma is in the Buddha's own words.
Good, very good. But how to express that sabba papasa akarnam?
Sabba papasa means all the things that make us poorer in character. Papasa means make us poorer in character.
No, means all bad practicing?
Yes, all the bad thoughts, all the intentions that are unwholesome, the speech and conduct that is unwholesome, immoral, it makes our character poorer. So that means sabba papasa, all kinds of things that make us poorer in character, not refined, very coarse, very unwholesome.
These
very
things
ignoble.
are destroying ourselves.
Yes. Akarana means stop that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't make yourself worse by having all such bad qualities. Kushalasa upasampada is the opposite. Before stopping ourselves from making all these things.
all those good things.
Yes. First we must stop ourselves from unwholesome qualities. Otherwise, doing good is also quite meaningless. If we don't stop doing bad, and at the same time we do good, it's like one hand washing and one hand dirtying. See? So first we stop dirtying ourselves, then washing makes it clean.
Yeah. And sachit paryodapanam.
Ji. Sachita, sa means oneself. No one can purify us. Our guru cannot purify
only
us.
myself.
Ourselves. That's what the Buddha said.
Yeah.
Sachita, ourselves. Paryodapanam means make it free from all these defilements. Not attached, not stained, not covered by defilements. Uncovered by defilements. Let the purity, let the light of Dharma, the light-heartedness, the wisdom shine. So this is called the process of purification. For example, if we want to clean our hands, we just wash it with pure water. We cannot wash it with muddy water. Pure water is the Dharma, but we ourselves must go and wash it. Water cannot come and wash it for us. But using water, we can wash our hands.
So I have to understand from you another thing that meditation is the situation of having or doing. Where somebody's are usually said that told that we are doing meditation. So is it the situation of doing or having? Your own experience.
I follow the Buddha's teaching of meditation. He used the word bhavana, which means mental cultivation and mental development.
Means is this the situation of having na?
Yeah, it is not doing something. It is sometimes to make the mind relaxed and free from all kinds of unwholesome intentions and so on. The technique is called samatha vipassana. Samatha means calm the mind, make it stable, don't make it irritated, don't make it depressed. Calm the mind, samatha, sammu, make it peaceful.
Yeah.
When the mind is very peaceful, there is joy, there is light, there is energy. That joy, that light, that energy gives rise to insight, vipassana. Vipassana means seeing things in a special way. For example, when we look at things outside, this is the car, this is my new car. We are very happy, we are full of pride. But vipassana means seeing the reality, seeing the truth. Yes, this is my new car. I bought it just recently, but this car is subject to impermanence, anicca. What is subject to anicca is not satisfactory. Yat anicca tang dukkhaṃ. So I cannot claim suffering or claim uncertainty or claim anicca as something that belongs to me. Yat dukkhaṃ tang anattaṃ.
This is the realization of meditation.
This is the realization after meditation. After our mind is so peaceful, it comes naturally, and that comes as the truth. That was what Buddha realized under the Bodhi tree.
Oh.
So this is a very powerful, it's not an exercise. Meditation is not an exercise. Meditation is the practice. Dana, Sila, Bhavana. First, we cultivate our generosity and unselfishness. Sila means morality and maintain our virtue. For what purpose? To develop our mind, bhavana. Dana and Sila is to prepare for bhavana. So bhavana is not something we do as an appendix. Bhavana is the thing we do in Dharma, in Buddhism. So this is something that we have to educate. This is something that people need to pick up and practice regularly, so that it will lead to realization. So it won't just lead to much knowledge, and with much knowledge come many conferences, many seminars, many debates, many books. It's not about the number of publications that we do. It is realization.
Yeah.
Do people realize the truth? If we realize the truth, then we have practiced the Dharma well. Then we are not a scholar, but we are an awakened being. And this is the purpose of Buddhism.
Dr. Tan, we are going to this fruitful conversation in very good ways, but now where time is going on to end. So you are a good speaker on Buddhism, and you are a good practitioner in meditation. So what you like to just some words on the last comment for our viewers.
I think a lot of people from Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, traditional Buddhist countries, and today non-Buddhist countries, Buddhist communities in these countries owe a debt of gratitude to Mother India. We always look to India as a spiritual motherland for Buddhists. And all of us wish to see Buddhism establish itself again in the land of its birth and origin. And I think to do that, we have to make people aware of what the Buddha really taught, encourage people to practice it accordingly, and to also emphasize on realizing it. So it is pariyati to learn, patipati to put into practice, and pativeda to realize in essence what the Buddha's teaching is. So if this can be done, then India again would serve as the fountainhead of Dharma, because the next Buddha is going to be enlightened in India, and no other country in this globe can the Buddha be enlightened. So this is our genuine prayer and genuine hope. So I'd like to thank India, the Buddhist community in India, from previous generations to the present generation. I appreciate all the work the Buddhist communities are doing to revive Buddhism in India, and I wish the very best, and nonetheless, for the true success and peace and happiness of all the people here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Thorn, and thank you yourselves also for the watching for this show. But keep it up yourself with our TV, Awaz India. Thank you.